Now loading Anorak's OASIS.
Welcome to Anorak's OASIS. I'm your host, Jeff, aka Mysterio Hunter.
This is Jack, aka Dracoburn.
And this is Tiff, aka Evil Mech Meru.
We at Anorak's OASIS just wanted to give you guys a chance to get to know us a little, this being our first podcast. My name is Jeff. I'm kind of going to give you an idea of my interests, such as I'm obviously the Windows person on the group here. Comics, I enjoy a lot of different comics, such as I'm a big Dark Horse fan. The Predator comics are a big deal. Marvel, I'm more Marvel than DC, as you'll obviously see through the episodes. Movies, I'm kind of going to leave open because it depends on my mood. In terms of games, well, I like a pretty large array of different games as well. So we'll touch on that later. I think I'll hand it over to Tiff now.
Hey everybody, this is Tiff. I am the cosplay lover in the group here. All things cosplay, I love to make cosplay. Completely addicted to watching cosplay videos on YouTube. Big gamer. I'm mostly drawn to RPGs. I like big environment games, lots of exploring, beautiful graphics, but I do dabble in first-person shooters a lot. Big Halo fan. I know some in the group here think it's a stupid game, but I love it. Love Final Fantasy series. 8 is actually my favorite. I don't know if I've ever met another person that 8 is their favorite instead of 7, but I love Final Fantasy.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, except for Jeff. That's probably why we're friends. Big into anime. Love to watch all kinds of anime. Really anything. From Naruto to Sword Art Online, which I think we'll talk about a little later. All the big ones. And I'm very much into steampunk. Love steampunk right now. It's also a really big fan of steampunk. Love to dress up in steampunk and create different things with it. I think that's it about me, so I'll hand it over to Jack.
This is Jack. I'm probably more into tech, I think, than the other two. I keep in touch with a lot of that. I'm into building systems. I like to look at the specs on a lot of things. I don't read so much comics anymore, but I do still keep in touch with a lot of the stuff. So that way I'm kind of in the know. Movies and TV, I'm a big junkie on that. I like to watch a lot of movies, try to watch a couple a week on Blu-ray. Don't go to the theaters too much, but I do have a lot of people that I know that watch the stuff, and when it's big coming out in the theaters, sometimes I will go. In games, I like to play a lot of the RPGs. Again, like Tiffany, I like to explore a lot. I'm a big PlayStation fan, not so much on the Xbox, as you'll see as we go along. And I also like to do a lot of PC gaming.
All right, our first segment is called Circuits and Diodes. It's basically our segment talking about the different tech coming out. So I guess we'll jump right into that.
This is C&D, Circuits and Diodes.
Okay, so it looks like there's been a big reveal with Samsung with their Galaxy S4. Have either one of you been looking at that at all?
A little bit here and there, yeah. Personally, I'm not a big Android fan, but I do like to keep up with the competition. So I've kind of been eyeing it here and there, and it does look, it's pretty nice. I ain't gonna lie.
So it kind of looks like the S4 is a child of the S3 and the Note 2. It has a lot of the same functionalities as both of them.
Yeah, I'm kind of noticing that this is one of those devices like the Apple, the iPhone, where you could just put a sticker on it that said S.
Yes.
A lot of it's a lot the same.
Yeah, one of the big things though is that this is going to have a 8-core chip in it as one of the versions. So it's coming out as a quad-core and a octa-core.
Oh, it definitely has potential if they do it right, but I don't know if they will. What about you, Tiff? What do you think?
I really don't know. I haven't been keeping up to date on the new phone as much, so I don't really know a whole lot about it, to be honest.
Honestly, there's not a whole lot of super innovation on it. It does have a 13
Mhm.
megapixel rear-facing camera,
Mhm.
but it has a lot of extra apps that I'm not so sure that everybody's going to want to use. Like there's one app where you can record not only from the back camera, but you can also record from the front camera at the same time.
Yeah, that's that dual shot they're talking about.
Mhm.
And I'm not exactly sure what practicality that's going to have for anybody.
Yeah, and what point would you use that, you know?
Yeah, I can't think of how that would be useful at all. To see your reaction to what you're recording?
I guess so.
Possibly. I guess, I'm sure people are going to figure out some way to make that real interesting, and then we'll all be eating our words right now going, oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah, being like open source and stuff, I'm sure they could do a lot with it if they let people. We'll see, I guess.
Yep. Also, I guess the new trend also is to have an IR port on phones now, so you can use it as a remote control. That's one of the apps that they have on there, and that was one of the big things that it seemed like they were really talking about. Not exactly sure what other phones out right now have that, except for the HTC One that's coming out.
And by the sounds of it, it's more like TV specific, where you have like the Windows phones, they can control like your 360 and use it as a TV remote. This will actually control your TV itself.
Yes. It
Okay.
should be more than just Samsung TVs. Should be any TV. From what I read, is they were saying that it should be any TV.
Yeah, I don't see why they can't do it exactly like they do with the universal remotes, where you just type in a number and it connects with your TV.
Mhm.
They also have been talking here about this other ability to send pictures and movies and stuff back and forth, which I think was really something they pushed on the first one.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh yeah. If you've seen the Samsung phone on any movie or any commercial, that's one of the big things that they talk. Somebody's looking at something on their phone, somebody else will pull off their Samsung phone and go, "Hey, let me see that," and they'll touch the backs.
I have seen that, yeah.
Yeah, and they're also talking that it connects with the local player games. So, like, you can actually play like Asphalt 7 and Gun Brothers 2 are supposed to be coming out or being released the same time to work in that technology.
So I don't know too many people who are looking for a lot of co-op mobile gaming, but I guess that it's out there.
Well, it depends. I mean, I know a lot of people who like the turn-based games where you can just you don't have to be playing the whole time. You each take your turn whenever you have the time to do it, and I think that's more the fad at the moment.
True. I'm thinking fad as well. Another thing they have on there is they're calling it the S Health, where you can has like a built-in pedometer, helps you eat healthier. I don't have a Samsung 3, but I have a Nexus, and that wasn't on the Nexus when I got it.
And this actually sounds pretty cool because apparently it keeps track of the temperature and the humidity and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and it does all your weight loss by that.
And it looks like it can. There's some things you can hook up to get your blood sugar, blood pressure, weight. So
yeah, which could be a good idea. I mean, we'll see if it's actually implemented or not.
yeah,
We want to talk a little bit about the Surface Pro.
correct.
Jack, what's your opinion on this?
I think that Microsoft really put this out way too fast. It sounds kind of more of a hot mess to me. But what's your take on it there, Jeff?
Personally, I think it's one of the best on the markets at the moment. I think it's a gamer's best friend, in my opinion. in time, I want to be able to be doing the podcast straight from the Surface Pro itself. The technology is just far above even anything Apple currently has. The downside is Microsoft just hasn't. They're not really sending this to the right people, you know? They really need to market it more for gamers and stuff. Because it's fast enough. It can run any AAA game out there right now.
Really?
Well, I think what they wanted was for businesses to bite it up, and that's what I'm mostly interested in on it, and that's what I've been reading a lot on, and it's having issues with connectivity. People will be in the middle of something and they'll lose connectivity. So that's a huge issue for if they're wanting IT departments to spend the thousands of dollars per unit.
Well, it's like anything else, though. I mean, when it first comes out, there's going to be bugs. And, when Apple first released their first unit, it had bugs as well. Any game you play, MMO especially, when you release it, it has bugs. And it'll be fixed in the next, updates or whatever. And there's supposed to be big updates coming. They said one really big update coming before Blue is released. And then Blue will later on, I want to say next year, they're talking. Next year, end of this year, I'm guessing, will be released. And that should take, it's basically, the big update. And I think that'll take care of a lot of the problems.
One thing that, not just Microsoft, but I believe every manufacturer out there of tech and software having huge issues of getting things pushed out way too fast. I can remember back late 80s, early 90s, you didn't really have to worry about a patch to come out before you could play your game or use your equipment like it's supposed to be used.
Tiffany, what do you think about this?
I'm kind of with Jack on that. Just the whole, they push things so fast that it just doesn't seem like it is as good as it could be. I mean, we were talking about that earlier. I mentioned, with our 360 when we first bought it, we've gone through 3 of them just because they push the product so fast and it just can't run it the way that it should when it first comes out. So I'm be interested to see.
Yeah, I think the technology is there.
Yeah, I think the capability is there. I'd just be interested to see, if they get it working properly.
Figure out this software a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think too soon, too fast. If they would have waited a little bit after Windows 8, let everybody get used to that, work on the actual hardware a little bit more to make sure that there was minimal bugs, and especially not connectivity bugs. Come on, a tablet is you're mostly dependent on connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big. When I read that on several articles, I thought that was a big issue because I'm all for getting this for my work because I would like to really integrate not having to have a desktop. I could be anywhere and get all my emails and all my documents right there at my fingertips.
And I'm kind of wondering just how bad this connectivity really is because I'm hearing a lot from, I listen to a lot of other podcasts, with Paul Thurrott and Twit and that type of thing. And they haven't really mentioned a lot about it. I know Twit doesn't have a Pro yet. They're using the RT, which brings me to wonder, is there something in the programming between the two of them where one of them is a full version of Windows, the other one is not, and maybe that's where their problem is.
It could be. A few of the ones said that the RT did get a patch for that issue, and I don't know if the patch has come out yet for the Pro. So it'd be nice to see if that get fixed.
I know just recently a patch did come out. Whether or not that has fixed it, I'm not sure.
Definitely would be interested in the Pro or the Surface if they get that fixed because, like I said, it seems like you always have to do a workaround with iPad or even Android tablets to get Windows environments to work with those.
Right. And I currently have an iPad 3, which I will be trading in toward my Surface Pro. Tiffany, why don't you bring us into our other category here?
You like books, comics, manga? Hey, so do we. This is Inked In. It looks like the first up was Xenoscope's Grimm's Fairy Tales.
I don't know if you guys have read any of Zenoscope's Grimm's Fairy Tales, but I'm a huge fan. I about 3 years back ran into those. They put a really good twist on all the fairy tales, kind of closer to what the original Grimm's Fairy Tales were. They weren't so goody-goody or based for kids. They were more to scare.
Yeah, they were a lot darker.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say that it's a lot like the TV show currently out, where it's a little bit more dark?
Yes, but definitely a different. It doesn't follow the stories like that. What they do is they take, for like the Mad Hatter, he is actually crazy and likes to skin people.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's different.
And the recurring character through that is, I think it's Selena. But she's a witch throughout every story that pulls some unsuspecting person into one of the fairy tales. So, say a woman got jaded by her guy or something, and whatever fairy tale closely resembles what situation's going on with that person, she'll hand them a book, and then it just goes from there. They'll get pulled into a fairy tale. So if a girl named Alice, parents disappeared or got killed, she would hand her this book, and Alice would start reading about Wonderland, and then next thing you know, Alice will fall asleep reading the book and then be in Wonderland when she wakes up.
All right. So, Tiffany, are you reading anything at the moment?
The only thing I am reading right now, I'm trying to get through, is I'm going through the Walking Dead Compendium #1, which...
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. It's a lot more intense than the TV show, I have to say. A lot.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Mm.
I refuse to read too much of that just because I'm enjoying the TV show and I want to enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get ahead of where the show is, because it just the fact that it's so different, and it has a lot of spoilers, because there is a lot of stuff from the book that's in the show. But
so does it have the same characters still?
It does have a lot of the main characters, but they do have added ones in the book that aren't in the show. There's also story arcs, from the book that aren't in the show, and different things happen to the characters. So it's definitely worth reading, because it's different enough that it's its own, good story.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest checking it out as well.
It's very good, but very intense. It's a lot more brutal than the show for sure.
See, the comic I'm reading at the moment is Fanboys versus Zombies. It was just kind of a random one where I was looking through on my digital reader, and I found it and was like, oh, that sounds really pretty cool. Me being a huge zombie fan, I had to check it out. And it's not too bad. It's kind of like plucky humor type thing, where where they got banter back and forth, but it's basically about this group of people who go to Comic-Con, and as they're there, zombie invasion starts basically, and so they have to team up with some of their favorite actors and stuff like that
sounds
to
pretty nice.
fight the zombies. Yeah, and you got like the LARPers teaming up with finding real swords and teaming up, and it's pretty funny. I'm enjoying it for what it is, but I would definitely suggest checking it out, seeing if you like it or not.
I'm gonna have to read that. That sounds too awesome. Zombie invasion at Comic-Con.
So, being that I found this on a digital reader, what do you guys think about everything switching over to digital? I mean, do you prefer it paperback or hardback, or do you prefer just downloading it?
Kind of nice to still have both, but I know that the digital medium is going to end up wiping out the trade paperback.
I don't know, because there's so many people you talk to that just there's nothing like actually just holding it in their hand,
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying that's going to happen like in the next few years, but I think you'll see that comic book companies are going to move towards that. It's a lot cheaper for them. With prices of trying to get things out to people, gas going up, this is real quick. The good thing about digital issues is that it could possibly mean that you could see more issues than you used to see. Because
well, yeah, and you're not paying for, like you said, the delivery. So you should be getting them for a lower price.
Yeah, but I also know, if you look at video games, how they're doing those with all the online, downloading them, and they're still the same prices when you get them at the store. I wouldn't see it.
That's true.
I don't know if you're going to see a reduction in price, but if the company's starting to make more money because they don't have to print them up on physical paper, maybe the comic will still stick around longer.
Yeah.
And the stories will get better because they'll pay for good writers and the artwork will still be good.
Personally, I want to be able to have the paperback in my hand. I want to be able to have it on a shelf and say, "Hey, I have this comic."
True.
Yeah.
I mean, what, like the company who's I'm buying it from, say the digital company, what happens if they go out of business? Do I then lose my comic?
True. Yeah, that's all plausible. I still have a bunch of my comics back from the 80s and that my wife is always asking me, do I want to get rid of because they're taking up space? And I'm like, yeah, no, we're going to keep those.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I love the Spider-Man comics, and I actually have the Spider-Man where the first episode where the Punisher shows up. And I would not be happy if I only had that as a digital copy.
True. I wouldn't be happy with all the ones I had if they were just digital copies either.
Mm-hmm.
And now that they're all, turning into movies and stuff, you got to ask yourself, are these going to be more popular? Are they going to be worth something where your digital copy isn't going to be worth anything?
You can only hope. And how are we liking all the adaptations that are coming out?
I love it, honestly. Good or bad, whatever the movie is, I still enjoy watching it just for what it is.
Same here. I liked Green Lantern, even though I know I've heard a lot of people diss that one. The Avengers, Iron Man, all the Spider-Mans, even all the Hulks that have made, they've been great in my eyes.
I don't know about all the Hulks.
I don't know about all the Spider-Mans, but...
Oh, see, I enjoy the Spider-Man movies even. I mean, granted, I like terrible movies. I'm especially a huge fan of creature features, and so,
Same here.
With that, you gotta hate, or you gotta like terrible movies. Otherwise, there's not too many creature feature movies out there. And it's kind of, with Venom, I kind of had the feel that it was a creature feature. That's kind of the way I felt. And so, I didn't mind it so much. I don't think it was, one of their better movies, but it was good for what it was.
No, and that's what I said in my eyes. I enjoyed. There's hardly ever a movie that I don't watch that I don't like, and I'm always real glad to see that these that Marvel and DC are bringing out these movies for their characters that I've thought for years that they should have been doing. I don't know if you guys remember the Spider-Man TV show that was back. That was I want to say 70s. I mean, that was pretty horrible, but I still watched it every time it came on, even on reruns.
I don't think any of us are that old, Jack.
No, I was going to say, no.
Hey,
wait until my time.
Watch them in reruns.
That's true. I may have to check it out.
And they are still pretty horrible.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have for Inked In. Let's head over to our other segment, which is called Watched. Watched is about different TV shows and movies we're watching, or even anime.
Popcorn. Whoa! I really love some popcorn. Oh, let's get this segment started. This is Druckenberg, and this is Watched.
First on deck is Game of Thrones. So, who here has seen Game of Thrones?
I had just finished the second season, and man, I just wanted to sit down and spend the 10 to 11 hours watching it from beginning to end. But I had to break that over a few days. Other things going on, work. That show is, I think, one of the best shows they got going right now on TV.
Now, have you read the books yet, Jack?
No, I plan on it.
What about you, Tiffany? Have you read the books or seen the show?
I haven't done either. I failed.
Oh, really? Oh, you slacker.
Wah, wah, wah.
Well, I've actually read the books. I haven't seen season 2 yet of Game of Thrones. I'm currently on season 1, and it actually sticks pretty close to the book. A few things here and there, but nothing really big from what I can tell that are off. And I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It is a little on the rougher side, so some of our younger listeners may not want to listen to it or watch it or whatever, but it is well worth checking out.
Yeah, it is set in medieval. It does have some fantasy aspects to it, but it's just like anything that's on TV now. A lot of political intrigue going on, a lot of backstabbing, and I think that's why it's so good. You don't usually see this type of storyline in this setting. That's when you get it at TV or even in a movie very often.
Well, I think they kind of figured out that that's kind of what people want with you had Spartacus, which was really a very different type of TV show, and it hit it off really big. And I think that's kind of where they're coming out with this as well. Mm-hmm. Who's your favorite character in this?
My favorite character, it's a toss-up between Khaleesi Daenerys and Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah, my favorite is Tyrion as well. I gotta say my second favorite is probably Jon Snow, just because he's the anti-hero,
I don't know if I would say anti-hero.
Well,
he kind of just doesn't really know where he wants to do, where he wants to be. If he is a Stark, I'll give you that. I do like the fact that they are making him into this seeming like hero. It seems like
you haven't made it as far as I am in the book, and it gets good. You'll see what I'm talking about. Tiffany, why don't you bring us into the next TV show?
Oh, so this is an anime that I have been watching called Sword Art Online, and I've weirdly described it as a mix between. It makes me think of the book Ready Player One and Hunger Games in a weird way.
Which obviously we're fans of
here. Yes, obviously we're huge fans. But it's an amazing story that I feel like isn't done a lot. It kind of incorporates anime and video games. It's basically, this awesome new virtual reality MMO comes out, and everybody wants to have it. And it comes with special. It's called Nerve Gear. It's like a helmet. Put on, go in the game, and come to find out in the beginning that there's 10,000 people that got the first 10,000 copies, and they're all in the game playing, and they find out they can't log out. So the basis of it is, the only way you're going to get out of the game is to be all 100 levels. So I just thought it was really creative, and the fact that it made me think of 2 other things that I love was just amazing. So I don't think either of you guys have watched it yet. Shame on you.
I haven't watched it yet, but I'm a huge anime fan, so it's on cue to be watched, and it sounds like it's right up my alley.
It's like
what
anime,
would you say about
MMOs. It's like your thing.
There you go.
Right.
What would you say about the characters? Are they well designed, or?
Yeah, I think the character development is really good. The main character is this guy who's total solo player and just wants to do it on his own, and he really has to go through this whole development of where he learns to lean on other people and stuff. And I think that they did it really well. They made it really believable,
I have to say, looking at the cover art, is it the same people who did Eureka 7?
I'm not sure if it is.
The girl looks a lot like Eldeka.
I'm not sure about that, if it is the same people.
It sounds really good from what you've described to us earlier.
Hmm.
I've watched a little bit of Dot Hack, which not as similar, where people couldn't get out, but it was still about an MMO, and
Hmm.
it seems like this is a real good story.
See, that's one I've always wanted to get into, and I never have. And one of these days, I'm actually going to sit down and watch it and get into it.
Me too. I've only watched episode here and there, and it always seems really, really good.
Another TV show that I don't know if the rest of you have been watching The Walking Dead, but as I've been watching it, the commercials have been pointing at a new TV show coming out called Bates Motel, which apparently is about the old movie, only spaced out into what his life was like before this all happened.
That sounds real interesting. Learning a little bit more about Norman Bates.
Yeah, and I gotta admit, like, AMC is kind of on a roll with their TV shows.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I have a little bit more confidence in them
Mm-hmm.
and them pulling it off.
Yes.
But the cast seems pretty cool. I mean, it's I don't think it's anyone I've ever, actually seen in a TV show before. So it's all new cast, which sometimes is the best way to go. Sometimes it's a little scary.
Right.
I like that at times though, because then you have nothing in your mind of who that person is as an actor. They're like fresh and new.
Yeah, and it sets the bar a little bit lower, and the new actors gives them a chance to rise up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've seen these people in several different shows, like the main actress, Vera Farmiga. She's been on several things that I've watched, and this probably is going to be really good. She's usually a really good actress. I think I've seen Brittany Wilson on something as well. She looks familiar. It looks like she does sound voiceovers for Johnny Test.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm liking that they're stepping out, not getting the same usual people for these TV shows. I'm really liking some of the shows that are pulling in, people who you would consider a movie star, and all of a sudden you're seeing them in TV shows.
And that's the thing, I'm kind of tired of the same ideas. I want something new.
Yes.
And some new clever ideas. A lot like the new movie came out was Wreck-It Ralph on DVD. And have either of you seen this yet?
No.
I have, yeah. I just bought
What'd
it
you
on
think of it,
Blu-ray.
Tiffany?
It was amazing.
I loved it.
It was so good. It was just a really awesome idea to go into the video games and see things from the characters' point of view. I really liked that.
With the book Ready Player One, they found that a lot of the people who are out there with the money to buy the tickets now are people who love 80s pop culture and that type of thing.
Oh, exactly,
video
yeah.
games. And that's where I think a lot of it came from for Wreck-It Ralph. And I was at E3 last year and got to see when the trailer was first released, and saw this movie, and I was like, oh wow, that's incredible! I can't wait to see it, and it was well worth the wait. So definitely check this movie out.
Definitely.
It's great, especially for those of us who are gamers or have played a lot of games. There's a lot of like really goofy banter in it that most people won't understand.
I know a few friends that aren't gamers, and they said the same thing, that it was a great movie. Recommended
That's
it.
good.
They loved it.
Good.
And it had Cubert in it. I mean, he's an unsung hero, I think, in my eyes.
There you go.
I love him.
Yes, Cubert.
Bring back Cubert.
Let's get an updated version in 2013.
Yes, exactly.
That would be interesting. I'd be curious to see how that's done.
With a shotgun and a missile launcher.
Well, I don't know about that. Another movie I checked out this week was one called Superheroes Must Die, which is kind of an indie flick. Basically, the way I would explain it is it's superheroes mixed with Saw. And what it is these superheroes wake up, the beginning of the movie, they wake up and all their powers are gone. And they can't figure out what's going on. They're all just kind of thrown about in this room. And after a couple seconds, a TV monitor comes on, and the main villain, the main protagonist or whoever, is on the screen, and he's saying that there are bombs strapped to people all over the world. They show a camera of the room next door, and there's people next door with bombs strapped to them. And basically, he just runs them through all these different things, and they have to try to find a way out of it. And it's really just a messed up, crazy movie. A lot of people didn't like this movie. Me, personally, I enjoyed it. I'm a pretty big superhero fan, though, and I thought it was a really great twist on it, and really interesting way of putting it. Have any of you guys seen this movie?
No.
No,
I
I
have
have not.
Well, that was short. Thank you.
It sounds very interesting, though. When I went on to IMDb and read the synopsis of it, it's something that I'm definitely going to go rent and check out.
Yeah, I would check it out. I know it's in Netflix right now. It's also in Redbox. So there are two different ways you can get it. Pretty simple and pretty quick. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to say you should go out and buy this game or buy this movie, but you should definitely rent it and check it out. And it's an indie movie, so support your indie films, and so we can get newer, better stuff.
I love those crazy off the wall movies. I'm a huge fan of Asian cinema as well, and I like things that are different and crazy.
Yeah, speaking of Asian cinema, I had the opportunity to watch another movie. This was actually last week, and I gotta say, it threw me for a leap. I loved it. It was called Biozombie, and I don't know if either one of you have checked this movie out.
I've heard of it. On my list.
Yeah, it definitely. This is like, I'm a huge zombie fan, and this is definitely up there in my zombie list because it's Asian, goofy. They're goofy. The way they talk back and forth and stuff, and overdo all of the acting.
That's fantastic.
Thrown in with zombies, and it was one of the most incredible things I ever saw. So I mean, I loved it.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the pictures from it now, and it looks pretty out there.
I literally finished this movie, and I wanted to start it back over again.
Nice. Yeah,
and actually, I looked up the top 10 zombie movies the other day, and this is on a lot of lists, and I've never even heard of it until the other day.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So I think now we'll move on to probably one of our favorite lists or favorite segments, and that's called The Zone. And it's basically what are we all playing these days?
I'm a slacker again.
Oh, complex.
Yeah. I've been playing a lot of Guild Wars 2, which because you're my guild.
Absolutely. I think a lot of us are playing that right now.
We're all in the same guild. But I've been having a lot of fun with that. I know it's not exactly a new game, but it's just really good as far as MMOs go. I played WoW for like 5 years, and coming from WoW into this, it's just so innovative and it's so different that I've really been addicted to it.
Now, Tiffany, what server and guild are you in case some of our listeners want to join us?
We are on Iridon Terrace, and our guild is Kuragari Gungeon, which I don't know if people would know how to spell that.
Well, we'll try to put it in the show notes.
In the show notes, yeah.
Join us.
But yeah, it's welcome. Everyone come and play Guild Wars with us.
Jack is also on our guild.
Yes, I am. I have to say, I do not like WoW anymore. I had stopped playing that several years back, and when Guild Wars came out, Guild Wars 2, and I heard it coming out, and I was looking at some of the trailers that they had. I was thinking to myself, oh, just another remake of WoW. But then after getting it and playing it, totally not. I love this game too. I've got several friends who play it. I like how they don't have you overthink a lot of things. It's easier to fight.
It's very well done.
Yes. Mm-hmm. If you want to get really into it, you can do a lot of speccing on your character. But if you just want to just play, you don't have to do that and still have a good time.
Yep.
Now, another thing you should mention is that this game is a free-to-play game.
Yes.
You have to initially buy it to actually own the game, but you don't have to pay a monthly fee like World of Warcraft and other games.
Yes.
No monthly fee. That makes it even better.
Makes it even better.
Yeah.
And they do have things you can buy on it. None of it that will actually keep you from enjoying the game or from winning at the game.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a pay-to-win game.
Yeah, it's just they have a lot of cosmetic and a lot of perks you can get that would make it a little easier if you're a hardcore player, I'd say, but nothing.
Yeah, like you can unlock larger bags and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I have never gotten to the point where, the way they have their system where you can send things to your collectibles, I have never had a point where I was out of room.
I love that. I love the collectible storage. That is amazing.
Yes, I love that too. I didn't realize they had it till the second week I owned it, and I was trying to move stuff around, and I would throw away things, and after I found that, I was like, yes, why doesn't all games that have crafting have this?
Yeah.
It should be done in all games.
Every game.
Another one that some of us are playing is Tomb Raider. I'm playing it on the PC.
And I'm playing it on 360.
And I fail again.
I was a huge Lara Croft fan back when she first came around in the 80s. I believe the first time I played it was on the Commodore 64. I love the direction they went on this one. I like the new design of Laura. I like the new origin story. Makes it a little more realistic. Doesn't make her seem like she's just a spoiled brat out going to do stuff. I think it really makes her seem more human, and it's going to be interesting, the other installments that they do with her.
Yeah, this game is definitely like one of the top games so far that I've played. I couldn't believe it. I was mind blown. The story is just cutting edge, just on the edge of your seat type story, and you actually really start to feel for the character, for Lara.
Yes, you do.
So much so that when you die, you feel miserable about it. And it's not good ways of dying.
No, they're not.
I mean, it's just brutal. And actually, we got to listen to on the Nerdist this week. Camilla Luddington was on it and explaining that she was actually had to do all the jumping and everything for this game, and they put her in the room with the suit and everything, and and she said it was one of the wildest things she ever did, and everything, her voice, everything is done to spec for her, which was kind of cool. It was kind of cool I think that made it worse for me when she died. knowing a little bit about the character itself, I was like, I feel horrible.
Yes, and I've died probably 50 times on that, just trying to learn the mechanics of what keys you hit on the keyboard.
Yeah, I've died so many times it's not even funny.
One of the memorable moments on that one that is always funny to me, and because I've seen it on the trailers, but when she first falls in that pit and she gets that rod shoved in her side, I flinched.
Oh yeah.
Even though I knew it was coming, I saw it and I was like, oh. And when she had to pull it out, you're right. You get attached to her pretty quick.
Going in the direction that these games are going at the moment, are there any games that are coming out that maybe you're looking forward to, that maybe have some new ideas or something?
Yeah, I am looking forward to Beyond Two Souls. Quantic Dreams, I thought, hit it out of the park with their on Heavy Rain.
Right.
And I love playing that game. I played it through twice. I like that they're going to bring that gaming style back, because you don't really see many games that pretty much are letting you watch a movie and then lets you make decisions on what the character is going to do, if they're going to go left, right, or straight. If they're looking for something, you're the one scanning the ground or a room for the item they're looking for. That one, I'm hoping that it is just as good as Heavy Rain when it comes out.
And this is kind of where I'm slacking because I don't know a whole lot about this other than a few here and there things I've seen. But overall, I don't know nearly enough about this game.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't even think I've heard about it before today.
This is one of those games that Heavy Rain, I believe, was one of the few games that really pushed the PS3.
Heavy Rain, I enjoyed that game. I had a good time with it.
It really pushed what a console could do, and I think Beyond Two Souls will probably do the same thing. You know, they've had several years to work with the hardware, and I think they're going to make an even better, awesome-looking game, and the mechanics I thought were great. The learning curve was pretty quick on it, and I could just keep going on and on about Heavy Rain. So I'm pretty excited about Beyond Two Souls.
Well, again, it was something that people hadn't really done, or they hadn't done in a while. They had a lot of older games that were that type of style. I want to say back just after like Windows 97, 98 time period, you know, and they had a lot of the games where you had to choose to do different things, and it affected it, but not nearly to the extent that this did.
Yeah, even on the Heavy Rain, you played it through once, and then the second time, some of the choices you made from the first time, if I remember right, affected your second playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out the Heavy Rain game if you haven't checked that out. But when this comes out, knowing what I know about the first game, I would check this out too.
Yes.
Now, Tiffany, you were telling us about a game coming out called Slender: The Arrival.
Oh, yes. So this is supposed to be the second installment. For those of you that know the first game, Slender, or Slender Man. Just that little small game that you play on your computer where you're looking around for the pieces while that creepy tentacle guy is chasing you. This is supposed to be a second installment, and I haven't read a whole lot of exactly how they're going to change it, other than I believe I saw that he will, it's supposed to be he'll pursue you more. Like in the first one, it's slow. Like you get a piece of paper and he's somewhere back there. You get a second one and he gets a little closer and you get a third one, and to the point where you eventually turn around and he's like right there. But this one looks good. I'm excited for the second one.
Yes, the trailers, or the gameplay actually I watched, the guys kept looking back to see if he was following and he wasn't there. They walked up to the tower and they rounded a corner and boom, right there. I jumped even on that and I wasn't playing the game. So yeah, it looks like a very fun game.
This is leaning a little bit more toward the people who enjoy to be scared, which, you know, a lot of us have heard the problems with the not so much the problems, but the attention that Dead Space 3 has been getting, that it's not nearly as scary, and then I've heard from others that it is just as scary, just in a different way. So maybe this will help fill, you know, the gap for different people who want that scary experience.
I think people are they should come up with new ways to scare them. I remember playing Resident Evil for the first time and having the lights off and the noises and stuff that they could pop out on you and that would make you jump. And I haven't played Dead Space except for a demo, but that game still made me jump even through there. You know, the noise, it sounded like somebody was always crawling behind you and you'd look back, nothing would be there. And then all of a sudden, you know, you'd go through several doors, nothing. So of course, you know, then you're just like, well, nothing's ever going to come around. And then finally you just turn a corner and then all of a sudden something's right in your face. So yeah, these type of games are pretty fun.
Well, I think the game Slender, I think what it does really is it doesn't really show you anything. You know, there's no zombies coming at you. There's nothing attacking you. You know, the Slender Man, he never even really touches you. I think it's the fact that it's almost like you freak yourself out, you know, and that's what's scary. It's you let your imagination go crazy because you know he's right there behind you, and you freak yourself out.
That's always the
anticipation.
Yeah, it's the anticipation. You freak yourself out. It's almost like you feel him like looking over your shoulder while you're playing. And
I love games that can make you feel that way. Like you
Yeah.
have to look back, even though you're not really in the game. You always look back and like, why does it feel like somebody's watching me?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's move on to our next segment then. We're kind of running short on time. We have a section called Cost Talk, which you'll find we'll be doing this segment when we have the information that you guys are looking for. It's a little bit more of a visual segment, so for more information, I would suggest following Tiffany or even our Facebook at Anorak OASIS. So look us up, check us out, and Tiffany will be giving you suggestions and different parties we'll be having to teach you more about it.
This is Cause Talk with Tiff. Well, this first one, just to get some information out there, I thought just mention some upcoming conventions. That one local one is AnomalyCon. For those of you that don't know, it's a steampunk convention. It's actually held in Denver at the Tivoli Student Union. And it's going to be March 29th through 31st. And sadly, I won't be going this year. I went last year, and it is a lot of fun. If you're really into steampunk, it's definitely the convention to go to. They have an amazing dealer's room with lots of awesome stuff you can buy. Costume contest, tea and everything that is really fun. So I would definitely suggest checking that out. And then another big one that's happening in Boston, I'm sure a lot of you know, is PAX East. That's the 22nd through the 24th.
And we have a lot of friends who are actually there,
Yes.
such as our friends over there at nerdappropriate.com, or not .com, but nerdappropriate podcast. I also think Reset Transition.
Yes, I believe they're going to be there.
Or Press to Reset will be there. What can you tell us about this?
As far as I know about PAX East, it's the Penny Arcade Expo. I don't know a ton about it, other than I really want to go, just because it's a huge convention.
It's a lot of it is based on like indie games.
Yeah.
So that's where you're going to find a lot of the newer indie games coming out.
Good.
So especially if that's your area where you like to see the new ideas and support the people who be our future makers of the games or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
It's definitely good to go support it and have a good time. There's a lot of great people there. Jack, have you been to any of these cosplay conventions?
Not to any of the cosplay conventions. But I do go to NandetsuCon. That happens every year up in Denver and in the Denver tech area.
Oh yeah.
Also known as NDK.
Yes.
NDK.
I'm really happy to see that Denver is starting to pull in bigger cons. You know, Comic-Con is finally here. First year last year, and this will be its second year this year.
With Stan Lee, might I add.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've always wondered why Denver hasn't had those type of conventions. But yeah, it's the more that will be coming here locally, the more I'll be going to.
Good deal. Tiffany, would you like to maybe give some of our listeners an idea of your interest in different cosplayers?
Yeah, I was looking in some big cosplay names that I've been following a lot and just love their work. One is, I don't know if you guys have heard of Yaya Han.
I have not.
She's a pretty amazing cosplayer. Some of my favorites by her, she did an amazing Catwoman, the Arkham City version, and Lulu, for you Final Fantasy fans out there, from Final Fantasy X.
She also does the Baroness, so I know who this is.
Yes, yeah. Hey, everybody knows who she is once you look at pictures. But one of my favorites she did was Psylocke from X-Men. I'm a
Yes,
big X-Men, so.
I've seen those pictures of her dressed up as Psylocke as well.
And I know, Jeff, you like Cowboy Bebop, so you should look her up because she does Faye Valentine.
Oh, really? I will have to look that up.
Yes,
Yeah.
she does. She actually
I'm a big fan of Cowboy Bebop.
She does
Yeah.
a lot of characters, actually.
She does a lot.
I did not realize that. I've got a few of pictures of her as a Baroness and as Psylocke,
Mm-hmm.
and Chun-Li.
Yes, Chun-Li. She did Ada Wong from the Resident Evil.
Yep.
But yeah, you guys should definitely check her out. She actually has a website. It's just yayahan.com, and all her pictures up there. I think you can even order prints of a lot of her photos. She's really amazing.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll have to check it out a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then I think another notable cosplayer out there today is, I don't want to mess up her last name, it's Jessica Negri? How do you say it? Negri?
I couldn't tell you how to say her last
You're
name.
probably close.
I hope so.
Which
I'm sorry if
I
I
actually
mispronounced her
I
name.
actually saw her at E3 last year.
Did you?
As well.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
And I went to take a picture, and somebody called her, and she had to jet. So
I recognize her
unfortunately-
too as Pikachu, and she does
Lollipop Chainsaw.
Yes.
Lollipop Chainsaw.
She also does a really awesome Anya Stroud from Gears of War 3 and Mad Moxie for Borderlands 2. I really love her Mad Moxie.
I'll have to check that out too, because I didn't know that.
I don't know if those are on her website, but there's some YouTube videos out there that of her
I'm sure.
interviews. Yeah,
she's pretty popular
Yeah.
since she got asked to leave the floor that one con.
Oh yeah.
And she also does Yoko Littner. I've seen those pictures of her too.
Mhm. Yes. But she is actually going to be at Lone Star Comic Con, which is March 22nd and 23rd, Texas. Any of you want to drive down to Texas? See her. She will.
Yeah.
Our next segment is the top 5, or Anorak's top 5. What we're going to do is each week we're going to have what's on deck. On deck will be what your top 5 will be about, such as this week is horror movies. And if you keep an eye on our Facebook or Twitter page, we'll keep updating you and giving you information on what the new top 5 is. And we'd like you to answer it as well, and we'll be able to read some of the top 5 lists of our fans as well on the show. Tiffany?
Yeah. Am I first?
Let's start with you. Yeah.
I already got made fun of for my first. Just to let you all know. For my number 1 pick, which was Ju-on, which is the Japanese version of The Grudge.
It's actually the original version of The Grudge.
Yeah, the original one. Some people in the group do not approve of, apparently, so. My second one is 28 Days Later.
See, I agree a little bit more with that. I think it's a little higher on your list than I would have put it, but that's just me.
I liked it. I liked it because, they weren't necessarily zombies. They were just people filled with rage, and I could see people filled with rage doing that.
More of a virus film than a zombie film.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it was a great film. I won't deny
I
that.
still liked it. Number 3, Cabin in the Woods.
Yes.
We all agree on was a good movie.
Coincidentally, this is on all of our lists.
Yes, it is.
We didn't confer with each other. We just kind of did our list up and put them on. And this is an incredible movie. I would definitely suggest checking it out.
Yes. It was actually because of you that I watched it in the first place, because you kept talking about it.
Oh, this movie blew my mind.
Yeah.
It was incredible. And my suggestion is, like, the number 1 suggestion that you hear for this movie is, don't look anything up.
Yeah.
Don't look at anything on this movie.
Yeah.
It will ruin it for you.
Yep. It is hard
Don't
to
even
talk
watch
to
the
anybody.
trailer.
It's hard to talk to anybody about it too, because the movie will get ruined if they know.
Yeah, people ask you, well, what's it about? Well, I can't tell you what it's about. It just, all I can say is just go and watch this movie.
I think
it will blow your
that was
mind.
what you told me. I kept asking you, like, don't ask me, just go watch it. But what's it about?
Yeah.
I can't tell you, just go watch it.
Yeah, the person who told me about it, I asked them the 20 questions, and they're like, if I told you anything about it, you might as well not even watch the movie because it will be ruined.
It will be ruined. I agree.
And I saw this movie with a friend of ours who he just asked me. He's like, after work, he's like, hey, you wanna go check this movie out? And I was like, well, yeah, I've never heard of it. What's it about? And he's like, I don't know. I'm not telling you anything. And I was like, well, how do I know if I want to go see the movie then? He's like, just go watch it. You have nothing better to do. So I finally gave in, and I went and I watched it, and I came out of that movie like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. Ruin it more.
Just
but-
watch it.
Yeah, just go watch it. That's all you need to know.
Get it on Blu-ray for sure.
Yeah, I have it. What are
Okay.
you? That was your number 3.
That was
right,
number
Tiffany?
3, yeah. So then my number
Okay.
4 is Battle Royale. Which,
Great movie.
have you seen it?
I love this movie.
Yeah, Japanese movie.
If you're a fan of Katniss or what movie
The
is
Hunger
that?
Games.
The Hunger Games.
Yeah.
If you like The Hunger Games was written based off this movie because this movie is an old Japanese movie, right?
Yes. And Hunger Games was toned down quite a bit from this movie.
Toned down a lot
Yes.
next to this movie.
This
yeah.
one is a
I'll
lot.
have to see it.
If you
I
don't
haven't
like,
seen it either.
This movie was actually, I believe it was banned in America
Yes.
for the longest time.
if you don't like blood and watching, ninth graders kill each other, I don't recommend this for you. It is not good for that.
No, it's a great movie, but it is also in subtitles.
Mhm.
So
It is subbed, yeah. But it was
So-
good. It had a very interesting story. A lot of slasher films, you're like, okay, that person's dead, whatever, okay. But this one, you really started to feel for the characters, I thought, and really started to
right.
understand where they were coming from and what was going on.
And this movie's also on Netflix, so unfortunately it's not watched. Is it watched? It might have switched to watch instantly this week.
It used to be Instant Watch because that's when I first saw it. I don't know if they switched it back and then back again.
No, I want to say it is on Watch Instantly as well. So
There also is
you
a
know,
Battle Royale too.
which I heard was a horrible movie.
Yeah, it wasn't
so I don't
anywhere
know.
near as good. So, I mean, if you want to see it just for continuity, but it wasn't really that great.
I'd still watch it.
Yeah, I still watched it. And number 2, I'm going to watch it.
What's your
And
5th?
then my 5th is an oldie, but a goodie, is The Shining.
That is a good one.
That is one of my,
That is a good one. I agree with that one too.
that is a great movie. Jack Nicholson. It was amazing. I think when I
So
saw it when I was little, it scared the crap out of me.
So that is Tiffany's top 5. Read them all for us one more time, Tiffany.
So number 1 is Ju-on. Number 2, 28 Days Later. Number 3, Cabin in the Woods. Number 4, Battle Royale. And number 5, The Shining.
All right, and moving right along, we'll move to Jack's list.
Okay, my list is going to start off with a oldie, but I think goodie. The Omen from 1976. When I first watched that creeped me out. Nowadays, I watch it, I just like, yeah, that's pretty good. A lot of those older movies didn't use a lot of visuals. I liked how they kind of let you have your imagination.
Yeah, it's all about
Mhm.
insinuating what's going to happen.
And I feel that's a lot more scarier because I could think of a lot worse ways that than what they usually show on film for people to have something happen to them. My number 2,
Personally, I'm not a fan of this movie either, just because I don't like that style of movie. They don't do it for me. I don't know. I get bored with them.
Dissing on everything that we love.
I'm sorry. I'm just being honest.
well,
But to each their own.
yeah,
I
exactly.
know there's a lot of people who love that movie. Yeah, I'm not going to fault you for it. What's your second, Jack?
A movie called Dagon.
Sega?
Yeah, Dagon. I was just going through Netflix trying to find something to watch as I was bored, and I saw the cover art, and then I read the synopsis, and I was like, yeah, why not? And surprisingly enough, it wasn't that bad. These people come along a little fishing town that a god of the seas starting to try to take over, and just all hell breaks loose and they have no clue what's going on. Everything's just these people turning into creatures in front of them. It was definitely different. It was low budget, so you might like it, Jeff. But it was a good time when I watched it.
Yeah, this movie's definitely going on my list to check out. I've never heard of it, but it sounds pretty cool, so I'm gonna see it on your suggestion.
Then my number 3, just like with Tiffany, it was Cabin in the Woods. Can't say enough good things about that one. My number 4 is Martyrs. This is subtitled as well, but there isn't a lot of talking in it. It's definitely a strange one that Jeff, again, I'm going to say you'll probably like this. It was recommended to me because the person knew that I liked off-the-wall, weird movies, and this one is about this cult of people who are trying to get closer to the god of death, and by torturing people. So they're thinking through pain, you'll be able to reach the god of death and see what it's like on the other side. So it's somewhat torture, somewhat thriller. If you don't have if you have a weak stomach, don't watch it. Because at one point they skinned somebody, but it was definitely a good watch. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was really strange.
I'm not gonna lie, that sounds screwed up.
I don't think I want to watch it now.
And when you watch it, you're like, is that makeup, or are they really doing that? The effects that they have on it are really good. It's a very strange and different movie.
Right.
Then my number 5 is Troll Hunters. This was another Netflix going through and just seeing if there's some off the wall stuff I can watch, and
good movie.
I was surprised at how when I started watching I was like, is this real? they play it out kind of like, the Blair Witch or any of those other, they want you to believe it's reality type of things.
Mm-hmm.
But the effects on it, the trolls, they look like they're really there. It's all in Iceland.
Now this is filmed not from a standing camera, but from actually somebody holding it on their shoulder, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's
now, how is it done? Is it cleverly, or is it done well so you're not like getting seasick or whatever or motion sick from watching it? But it's actually done decently.
No, I'll give you some points. He's running with the camera, but everything's done where it is believable. It's not so bad as Blair Witch, where the camera's bouncing everywhere, but it's not a steady cam in any way, shape, or form, which would take the believability.
Well, yeah.
The first time they show you a troll, I was caught off guard at how good the troll looked.
They look incredible.
It was CG, but then you start questioning through the whole movie. Is like, man, that looks real. So, I definitely recommend this one if you're in the mood to read subtitles, because it's a good story.
This is definitely a movie on my list to check out,
and
it actually has been for some time. But personally, I'm one of those people who I multitask when I watch movies, and I have to be doing other things. And so to be multitasking or playing, say, Guild Wars 2 or something, and then trying to read subtitles, so I've put it off for some time now.
You should watch it.
It's a good one.
I really need to.
I enjoyed it as well.
Good. Yeah.
It was one of those for us too. It was just like a random Netflix find. I'm like, oh, let's try it out. And I really liked it.
It was for me too. I put it on there months ago, and I just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. Take the time, sit to watch it. So to go over back my list, my number 1 was The Omen from 1976. My number 2 was Dagon. My number 3 was Cabin in the Woods. Number 4 was Martyrs, and number 5 was Troll Hunters. So Jeff, let's hear what yours is.
All right, and that brings me to my list, which is my number 1 is going to be Behind the Mask, the Rise of Leslie Vernon. Which have either of you guys checked this movie out?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. No.
This is like my Cabin in the Woods. I would say go out and rent it right now.
Okay, I'll be right back now.
Just stop what you're doing now and just go rent it.
Hey, so put pause on and let me go grab it real quick.
All right. Now this movie's about what happens is it starts out with this like a college student, and she's doing a report to this guy who said he's going to be the new slasher, and he put it out in the newspaper and stuff, and like all this other weird stuff, and they're like, well, what, that's strange. All right, well, let's go do a news report on this guy, and basically you find out all the secrets about slasher movies, and that they're actually all just friends. It's a community, and they just go out and kill people and stuff, and it's just really just an off the wall, like off the wall crazy thing, and the movie is one of the most incredible movies I've seen. It just blew my mind. But it's not what you think. The whole movie is just kind of a surprise, you know. And also, shoot, I can't even think of his name now. The guy who played Freddy Krueger.
Robert Englund.
Robert Englund is in it. Yep. There is also one or two other big name slasher names in it as well. And definitely check this movie out. My number 2 is, of course, Cabin in the Woods. I think we've said as much as we can say on that movie.
Go see it.
My number 3 is Joyride, believe it or not. And this movie, I enjoy this movie a lot. And it's not, I'm not sure if it's on too many people's list as a good movie or not. Personally, I enjoy it. I enjoy cars and stuff, so to throw that in the mix is a big thing for me. But have either of you two seen this movie?
No.
Yes. Yes, I remember watching this a long time ago. But yeah, it was good. You have Paul Walker that's in it, Steve Zahn, and Lily Sobieski.
Yeah, which this was actually before Paul Walker was a name, you know.
And if I remember right, wasn't Steve Zahn in a few other things too?
Oh yeah, no, he's popular. I can't even for the life of me remember what he's in, but he made the show or made the movie.
Okay.
Like it was great watching it just for his witty banter and stuff.
He's in a lot of stuff, isn't he?
Yeah. Yes, he is.
I'm remembering him in That Thing You Do.
I don't know if I've seen that.
It's like an old movie with Tom Hanks.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, like
All
about
right.
singing.
Yeah, he's Dr. Dolittle, Saving Silverman.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. He was on
yeah.
Friends in one episode. I do remember that.
Yeah.
I know a lot about Friends. So.
Yeah, one episode of Friends he was on.
Yes, one episode. I remember.
Looks like he's got All My Children too as some of his credits.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And there was also a Joyride 2, which was absolutely nothing like the first one, in my opinion. And it was a lot more brutal and gory. And honestly, I just was like, I'm such a big fan of the first one where this one came out, and I didn't enjoy it nearly as much. I think I just went into it with higher expectations than what I should have.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically just a really violent slasher, whereas the first one is more clever and it's more the suspense side of it. It's an entirely different type of movie, in my opinion. My number 4 is Friday the 13th, the third, which I'm guessing most of you have probably seen this.
Yes.
Yes.
And the reason I chose this one over the first and second is just because I like the mask part of it. I like him having the mask. One was obviously he wasn't really even in it. 2, the majority of the film he had the cloth sack over his head.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie, I thought, more showed his more brutal side, where he just didn't care about anything. I enjoyed it, it's one of the oldies but goodies.
Yeah, so this is the one where he's in the mask the whole movie.
Yeah, mm-hmm. It's the first one where he had the mask the whole movie, right?
Nice. And it looks like it was a 3D one too, huh? Because Friday the 13th part 3D.
Right. Yeah, it was a big deal that it was in 3D.
Yeah. And if I remember right, there was a lot of knife poking at the screen or gun pointing at the screen.
Classic great slasher.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it was.
My number 5 is an old black and white film. Some of you may have heard of this movie. It's called Night of the Living Dead.
I haven't heard of that. What's that?
Sounds familiar. No.
Which this movie is incredible. Even now, it still holds up, and I could sit there and watch it and be like, "Oh my goodness, this movie's so great." But it's one of my favorite zombie films. What do you guys think of this movie?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I think Romero was ahead of
George
his
Romero.
time. Yeah, George Romero. I think he was ahead of his time on starting the zombie movies. It was great. It was looking at it, it's kind of cheesy. It's kind of spooky. He was trying to push the fold of how gory he could be at the time. I remember watching it several times throughout the years when I first saw it. If I see that it's on TV, I usually will turn to it and watch it.
Yeah. I really liked it. I like the old black and white, aspect of it.
Yeah, and there's something about it being black and white that really,
it makes
it better.
It makes it creepier in a weird way, and I like that.
Which is great that The Walking Dead is re-releasing all of their old episodes in black and white.
Are they?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I will be buying 2 copies. I will be buying the color and then the black and white because I don't know what it is. Just seeing it in black and white, I'm like, just my eyes go wide, and I'm just like, oh, this is incredible.
Yeah.
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 So, Tiffany, you have some interesting information for us, huh?
Oh, yes. I have for all you Hayao Miyazaki fans out there, and for those of you that know, he did Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Ponyo, that was the most recent, The Secret of Arrietty. And he actually has not directed or anything, but has written a new movie that was based on a manga by, let me see if I can find their names real quick. Hold on. Not butcher the names, but written by Chizuru Takahashi and Tetsuro Sayama. And it's a movie called On Top of Poppy Hill. I believe that was the name. Yes. And it just released or premiered in New York City this last Friday.
Nice.
So,
I love it when those anime movies are starting to come over here and play in our first run theaters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it actually premiered in Japan back in 2011. So I've been hoping for a while that it would come overseas and hit here.
He definitely makes some strange stories. The ones that what was can't remember the name of the movie. Name the first 2 that you said?
Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle. He also did Castle in the Sky, Ponyo, My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah, good stories. He definitely can spin a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a guy who's pretty reputable in the anime, society, and you always hear some of the best ones are like Spirited Away and Howl's Castle, and if you've seen them, you know why they're really cleverly done. The art is really well done. It's just all around good anime. So definitely, like, if this is in your area, check it out.
Hopefully it'll be releasing nationally soon, or DVD, I'm hoping. Blu-ray.
That would be great. Yeah, and if we do hear that it's coming out on DVD, we'll let our fans know.
Also, if you're a Studio Ghibli fan, just real quick, I want to say check out. There's a game, Ni no Kuni, that came out. That was done by Studio Ghibli.
And this game is getting a lot of hype. It's really popular.
I've heard some. I haven't tried it yet. I want to try it, but I've heard it's really good.
I hear the mechanics are pretty good. There's 1 or 2 things that fans would prefer to see differently, but overall, it's a good game. And actually, maybe we'll review this on our next episode and tell you guys what we think.
Definitely gonna try and get my hands on it.
So, something I want to say is that a lot of us are on the podcast. We'll be working at a local bar here in Colorado Springs called 8-Bit. What it is it's basically a geek bar. It's what a lot of us are talking about these days. You go in, you can play video games, you can have a drink. All of our drinks are named after games. We also will have arcades. We're hoping to have a cosplay convention, or our own mini cosplay convention there, contest or contest tournaments and that type of thing. We will also like to have D&D nights and that type of thing. Unfortunately, we're not open quite yet. You'll have to wait a little bit longer for us, but we're looking at a very near future. We'll be open, and come by, see us, say hi, and from there, well, we'll see you in Guild Wars and a lot of other games. Is there anything else anyone would like to say?
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Even though by the time you listen to it, it won't be that anymore.
All right, and this is Anorak's OASIS podcast, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you guys.